Welcome, everybody. This is the Image Competition Update 2026 that we're going to be looking at today. Before we get started, though, we do have an announcement from our president. So, Mr. Aaron, do you want to take it away?
Oh, yeah, nothing too formal of an announcement. I just wanted to thank everybody for being here and just kind of, say a couple words kind of framing up where we're at, right? PPW has been doing image competition for a very long time, and the image competition landscape has changed in the PPA world and around the PPA world. And so I'm excited that we're updating how we do competition so that we're taking some of the best of what's been going on around us in other PPA groups and, and taking into account the fact that PPA itself has changed how it does the International Photographic Competition and now has the monthly merit image review. And so what we're doing is, we're not making any changes to PPW degrees. I'll just say that right up front. The degree requirements remain the same. We are making some changes to how image competition works. And it's going to continue to honor that spirit of why we do image competition, to help everybody grow as photographers and recognize those photographers who are making great images and growing in their craft. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Chris, who was part of a committee that looked at everything going on and brought some recommendations forth that the board discussed as a whole board at our last board meeting. And here's where we are. And I'm excited for what we're going to have coming up here in a few months.
All right, I'm going to take it away so we can get some information out there, and we're going to have some Q&A at the end of this as well, but a little bit about why we're doing, and Aaron kind of hinted at this. Image competition, it continues to evolve. We get new technologies that are coming through. We have members that kind of have an ebb and flow in terms of what images they're entering, and we've been listening. We've put together, at the request of the board, a team that came together, kind of evaluated what's working on image competition, what our members are looking for, what we want to change. And we've got some big changes that are kind of coming through that I think add some really, really nice value for PPW membership. I do want to give a shout out to Forrest and Amy Cooper, Laura Grauer, John Crowley, Rachel Woolley, Heidi Bulkley. They've been all part of this image competition team. And of course, the board for all their support and making these changes happen. It's been a lot of work, a lot of debates, and a lot of late nights as we try to figure out how do we make this image competition the best value for our members. And one thing that's not in this little presentation, but I do want to kind of share behind the scenes, we are separating image competition, the logistics and business side of it, from what our conference is. Previously, the conference chair would appoint an image competition chair who would then kind of run image competition. So we've kind of segregated that just a little bit so that we can have better analytics. We can be prepared way in advance and have the opportunity for doing more, better education, that sort of thing that's coming together. So that's a behind the scenes thing. But for the meat and potatoes, I'm going to share my screen here, and we should be able to see the image competition update screen. Everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Looks good.
Yes. Okay, good. Right, there it is. That's all you need to know. Just that one screen. We're all good. Everybody gets 100s from here on out. You're going to love it, right? No.
I'm sensing some banding in the background. I just don't feel like this is up to a merit slide.
No, this is 100. New rules. No. All right. So the big thing with image competition that's coming through. Get on there. I must have to click on the screen to make it active. There we go. Okay, the big one that I want to announce is that you can now enter 10 images, up to 10 images inside of image competition. So the kind of goal on this one and the feedback that spawned from it is that a lot of our members were entering images that they thought would score well, that they thought that judges would like. We heard that over and over again. This is what the judges are like. This is what the judges want us to do, or the types of images that judges wants to do. So we've expanded it so that our members are able to enter up to 10 images, and we'll get into those details in just a second. But now you can enter 10, up to 10. So that allows you to experiment, to try out some new things, maybe expand some of the genres that you're doing, and you can get feedback and practical stuff that's coming through with it. So you're able to enter anywhere between 1 and up to 10 images. So if it's been a busy year and you aren't able to enter, you can enter just a single image. You don't have to have a full case of 4 images to make it worth entering. You're able to do just a single one or up to 10 if you've got a whole bunch of images that you're excited about. The other thing that's a little bit of a change is that our top 4 images that you enter into the competition, so remember you can enter 10, the top 4 are going to be your case now. And so those top 4 are the ones for any aggregate scores. They're going to be judged off those top 4 scoring images. So the more you enter, the more opportunities you have. And you're only going to be able to get 4 image merits. So the top 4 images are the ones that are going to provide merits. So you can't go through and enter 10 images and get 10 image merits towards your degrees. So still the same guidelines that we've had before are there. So it's just your first 4, or excuse me, the top 4 that are going to get merits for it. So let's kind of dive into merits and look at what that actually means and what's changed with the merits now. The big one, 80 is going to be the merit level. So if we're going for a PPW merit, we've aligned with the national standard. 80 is going to be the merit level, and your top 4 images that score an 80 or higher are going to be eligible to get a PPW merit for it. Also at that 80 point is when you're going to be trophy eligible. So any image that scores an 80, and this can be image 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, still trophy eligible. So all 10 of your images could be trophy eligible for it. It's just the top 4 individual images will get merits for doing that. So 80 is kind of the benchmark that we want to hit. We're putting more value on actually establishing that merit level work, and we're kind of aligning on that national standard too. Now, you do have the opportunity to get additional merits, and each trophy that you win, so if you get like one of the category awards or some of the other trophies that we'll be talking about, each one of those are worth a merit. So you can get multiple merits just like we have in the past based off your images. So if they do really well, they're winning trophies, you're still going to get those merits for it. So just the cap of 4 is only going to be for those first 4 that you're entering that hit 80 or higher. The other big thing is that images scoring 78 or 79 are now going to get half a merit. And so this is great if you're going to be working towards any of your degrees. That half a merit means that even if it doesn't quite hit that mark, you're still working and making progress towards those degrees. You're getting good feedback. So we're providing positive direction, and kind of that's the goal. So if you do hit that 80, you should be dancing and celebrating. And if we aren't hitting that, we're get that 78 or 79, we're still making progress. So really cool things. So that's kind of the highlights of the merits. Next big thing that we're looking at is feedback. Our members love feedback. We enter image competition so we become stronger photographers. We become better at our craft. And the way that we do that is through feedback. And so now every image is going to have judge commentary on it. So no more just images coming through where it says 80 or 79 and then it's just radio silence. Now, at the very least, you'll have feedback on every single image. One of the panel of the judges is going to come through and give you a brief bit of feedback on what's working well or might be able to be improved. So every single image that's entered is going to get some feedback that's on there. And just like before, there's going to be the ability to purchase individual critiques if you'd like. So this is where one of the judges will go through your images and they'll provide more in-depth feedback. If let's say you want specific techniques that might be applicable to your image, or just to understand a little bit more, or maybe clarify what that initial feedback was, we can do that through the paid critiques. So that's an option that's there. It was there before, it's here now, but the whole goal is to get feedback so that we're learning and that we can become stronger photographers. All right, now let's get into some of the specifics of what's changing in terms of the structure and categories. So big one with categories is that there are no more cases that we're entering. So it's now going to be per image. So that means that you can enter from that 1 to 10, and it can be across any of those. So there's no longer separate competitions like the artist case used to be separate. At one point, we had the wedding case that was separate and the photographic open. Now they're all combined into one. So the categories kind of differentiate what your topic is. But when you're entering, it's just one big thing. So if you want to try out the artist category and just enter a single image, you can do that. You don't have to have a case of 4. So that one's a really big one. Hopefully that makes it a little bit friendlier to start experimenting with some of the new categories that are coming across. The categories are going to be changing yearly. And basically, this is based on research, lots and lots of research. So we went through, our team analyzed all of the entries that we've had and kind of grouped them into different categories. And we saw some categories had a lot of people entering them, like the portrait category or landscape, and other categories didn't have very many of them that were entering. And so we kind of rebalanced out the categories so that we've got more of an even spread. So there's no longer going going to be a huge advantage of entering an under-entered category. And instead, all of them are going to have some fierce competition. But if you hit that merit mark and you get a trophy that's on here, you've earned it. So really, really cool. But every year, the image competition committee, which is appointed by the president, is going to come through with the new categories for that year. And those categories are going to be announced at our annual conference. So when we're doing our awards banquet and handing out all the trophies and celebrating, that's when we're going to learn what the new categories for the upcoming year are. Now, today, we're going to announce what this year's categories are so that we at least have a few months to start preparing and kind of honing your images in. And they are going to be very familiar. We're not shaking things up too much on here, but just letting you know that there will be changes that are happening every year. And at conference, you can find out exactly what the new categories are. So let's dive in and look at what these new categories are, as well as kind of the format. So when you're trying to decide which categories to enter, you know exactly what they are. Up first, we've got the animal category. And one thing I want to kind of point out with this graphic that we have here, a little infographic, is that we've got a bold kind of one-liner description of what it is. Then there's a paragraph description that goes into a little bit more detail about what that category includes and doesn't include. And then we've got the check mark with examples that would be great for this category, and the little no sign that are examples that would not work in this category. So the goal is to make it so that we're less guessing and less subjective, so that you know firmly what categories you should be entering. For instance, in this animal category, note that it said that painted and composite and illustrated images are totally allowed in this category, but wildlife and zoo animals are not in this category. So if you're doing like a pet, that would be absolutely perfect on here. Maybe you have like a really, really cute pet pig. That could work in here because it's a pet that's on here. So we can go through, we can look at the positive examples and say, okay, that would work. And say, oh, this picture of a bear in the wild eating a salmon, that's probably not most appropriate in the animal category. So animal category is our first one up. Next, we've got the artist category. So this one is just like what the artist case was. So this is where we can take images. You do not have to be the original photographer on them. We're judging you on your Photoshop skills. So this is where we're going to have composites, digital paintings, things like that. And notice that at the very bottom line, it says the use of stock images and AI elements are allowed in this category. So that means that if you want to pull stock images and combine them, you could be judged on that. Just a little bit of a heads up, if you use AI entirely to generate your image, that's going to be your reference image, and there will be no real artwork that's done to it, so it's probably not going to score really well, just purely AI generated. But if you're bringing individual components, including AI generated components into it, and you're doing the Photoshop that's there, that's a perfect chance to enter the artist category. So kind of fun. These will all be posted on the PPW website as well, so you can go back and review them at any time. Up next, we've got the commercial category. So this is playing into any sort of commercial work, kind of looking at those examples. Things like products or real estate would be great in this. Things that are a little bit more fine art, not so good in there. So just look it through. Commercial. We got the creative category. So this one's a little bit of a catch-all for us, where anything that might be a little bit more artistic or intentional in terms of how you're coming up with it, with some creative flair, some experimentation, going to go great here, like intentional camera movement, or if you're massively adding in new elements that aren't existing in your current image, or you've got an image that's in another category, but you've broken some of the rules by maybe doing more Photoshop than it's allowed, the creative category is going to be where it's falling at. So creative category. The event and wedding category. So this is going to be anything that's event related, weddings, bar mitzvahs, events, corporate events, any of that can totally fit inside of this. So this is going to be stuff that's happening day of. We're capturing what's happening at that event. So stuff where it's not going to go there like, say, rodeo shots, studio portraits of a bride, if they're not taken on the wedding day, wedding rings for a jewelry store commercial, examples of things that wouldn't belong here, but anything that's an event that's going on, totally at home inside the events and wedding category. Fine art and still life. So this is playing on a little bit more of the artsy side of things. So channel your inner Ernst when it comes to this one. We're going to be looking at cool shadows, light play. Black and white would be amazing on this one. Stuff that has some symbolism, some hidden meanings, stuff that goes there. If we're going to call ourselves artsy fartsy, this is where we want to be in that fine art category. Landscapes. Really popular topic with our group. So landscapes, it has kind of dialed down just a little bit. One thing that I do want to note on here is that post-processing is totally allowed in it as long as the final image remains a true representation of the actual scene captured. So this kind of goes into a debate and follows PPA's guidelines a little bit stronger when we're looking at the landscape category. So you are able to go through and remove minor things and do lots of dodging, burning. We can play with color, all that fun stuff, but we don't want a massive transformation. So if you're going through and changing out sunsets and moving mountains and doing stuff like that, that'd probably be better in the creative category. Instead, this one, landscapes, for just that natural beauty that we've got. So those Palouse shots, this is where they belong. Photojournalism or reportage. This one, we want to be very, very authentic to what that moment is, finding moments that mean something, capturing commentary, documentary style stuff. That all is perfect inside of this category. Notice that it does have very, very strict requirements in terms of what can be done, such as it not being posed. It's a single capture, only basic manipulations allowed like exposure and color, and you can remove dust spots in it as well. We've got the portrait category, and this one's split up into two. We've got portrait illustrative and portrait natural. The illustrative is where we're going to get those really cool composites or those painted figures, the things that have like a neat theme that's going to them where they're just like, wow, how did you come up with this, Carissa? I don't even know. That's all going to belong in this illustrative category. Whereas in the natural category, this is where we're going to have things more like traditional family portraits, headshots, senior portraits. We found that we had a lot of portrait entries and to kind of dividing them based on whether they're going to be more illustrative fine art pieces or if they're going to be photographing real people and real clients. We want the judges to know what their standard is and not put them up head to head. So we split that category into two. So we've got illustrative and natural coming through. Wildlife, all of our birds, our bears, things like that. This is wildlife. So zoo animals are going to belong here. Things that are not domesticated animals. So if you're going to Alaska and photographing something, this is exactly where it belongs. And we've got the new wild card. So every year there's going to be kind of a fun category, something that's just a little bit different and doesn't play as well with the rest of them. So this year it's going to be the color yellow. Well, actually just the word yellow. I'd assume it's a color, but your interpretation of what yellow means and how it inspires you to create something. So this will be a category you'll be up against every other maker that decides they've got something with yellow in it. It could be an image where yellow is maybe a primary or dominant color in it. It could be something that gives you the symbolism of yellow, maybe hope or warmth that's coming through. Your interpretation totally open in terms of what yellow means, but it's going to go up against everybody else that's also interpreting what yellow means. So should be kind of fun. We're going to be playing around a little bit, and this should be one that kind of annually gives us a little bit of a challenge and gets us outside of our boxes. In the future, you may see things like, let's make this black and white, or let's go with an emotion, a feeling, or maybe just a random word, and we have to figure out what that means, a descriptive word. So here's a slide that has all of those. If anybody does want to take a screenshot of what they are, again, they're going to be on the PPW website, so you can check those out. All right, let's talk about trophies, because we're shaking up how trophies are working too. So we've added in a whole bunch of trophies, and I'm kind of excited about that. So first of all 12 of those categories, they're going to have a trophy for them. So that's going to be a category trophy. And as long as you are a PPW member and the image score is 80 or higher, you're going to be eligible for that trophy. It's not the highest scoring image. It just means that you're eligible for it, and our judge panel will select the category winner for that particular image. So up against everybody else that entered that category, that's a PPW member that scored 80 or higher. The big one, and what I'm really excited about, is we're introducing the top 10 photographers. So this is going to be the top 10 scoring photographers based off your top 4 scoring images. And the really cool thing about this is that we're not just rewarding one really good image that just sweeps the competition, but instead we're rewarding being a maker, and going out and being at a high level, trying and experimenting, doing new things, putting yourself out there and growing. So this is something that everybody's open to. So all PPW members, you can be a first-time entrant, you can be a veteran, doesn't matter. As long as we're entering, your top 4 images that you enter will be your case for this one, and those top 10, this should be a very coveted thing, but we want people and our makers to be celebrating being a really, really high caliber photographer and maker, and not just having one really, really good image. So top 10 photographer, that's 10 new awards that we have not had before, but this is really cool. And I'm very excited about the top 10 photographer. We also have the Rookie of the Year. So this is going to be a first-time entrant, and it's going to be based off their top 4 images. And this does come with the Alma Gray Scholarship as well. And we'll have the People's Choice Award. So this is going to be at actual conference where you're going to be able to vote for your favorites. That's going to get an award just like we have before. And then finally, Best of Show. So this is going to be judges' pick from all the images that are entered. The highest are the judge's favorite. That's a PPW member. So any of those are going to be those trophies that we've got for it. Got some updates on the costs. So because we're getting rid of cases and it's going to be based on the image, we've been able to lower the entry price. So if we're meeting the deadline, it's $20 to enter for PPW members. And if you wait till the last minute, of course, then it's $30 for the late entry fee. Non-members have a slightly higher rate that's on it. The goal with this is to allow you to enter images. And yes, you can do a split one, so you can enter several of them before the deadline and then decide to work on 1 or 2 and enter those on the late deadline. So we've got some options for being able to get new images out there. You can work on them. You don't have to be stuck to that case format. And the critiques are $14 per image if you do want to purchase those as well. All right, the dates. This is the last slide that I have on here before we get into Q&A. March 29th, 2026. It's a Sunday. This is image competition for us. And the deadlines, just so you know, when you need to have yours in. So early deadline, it's going to open January 1st. You'll be able to start entering. And it's early deadline, so that reduced rate until March 15th. And then from the 16th through 22nd, that's your late entry deadline. So after the 22nd, it's closed, with judging starting on the 29th. I'm going to stop sharing screen here so I can see everybody, and let's answer some questions. Anybody have questions for us? Andrew.
If I happen to have 6 images that score 80 or above, can those be entered, the additional 2 be entered in the following year to actually become, have merits counted for them?
No, so only the images that are entered will go there. Only 4 will earn the merits for PPW, but all of them that you enter will be eligible for trophies. But you won't be able to re-enter in the following year to redeem those merits. So there is going to be a little bit of strategy. Don't put all your best work that's on there from your lifetime achievements into 1 year. You want to kind of sprinkle those throughout a little bit. The goal is more to start entering images that you might not enter before or you hadn't thought about, or be like, hey, I'm willing to take a risk on this one because I think it's cool, although historically the judges might not have liked it. Now you can try it out and actually find out. Any other questions? Yeah, Jen.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm moving something out of my way so I can see your face. So I do a lot of performance and concert photography. Does that fall into photojournalism, or would that be event?
Depends on what you're doing with it and how much manipulation's been done. So it could be appropriate to be under photojournalism. That would be most beneficial if you had like a key moment, some sort of storytelling that's coming throughout it versus documenting the event. Otherwise, event would be a really, really good spot to put it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I have a question, Chris.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Sorry.
Adele. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I can't figure out why my video isn't working. I think my computer broke again. I don't know. Anyway, my question is since this is kind of new, like if we put it in the category we think it is, would you guys like move it to the right category before the day of, or is it just going to sit in the wrong spot?
Nope, that's a great question. So we do have as much guidelines, so hopefully it provides a little bit more guidance in terms of where to put it. But one of our committee members will be going through all the images to double check the categories. If something seems like it's off, we'll reach out. Ultimately, you're the maker, so you get to decide where it belongs. However, if you do keep it in a category that's not recommended, that may end up hurting you. For instance, if you do really heavy illustrative work and you enter into the natural portrait category, you're probably not going to be winning the natural portrait award. And you'd be way more likely to win that award if it was in the illustrative category. So a part of the committee will reach out and say, hey, we think it belongs in this category. Are you okay with changing? But ultimately, it'll be your choice.
Okay, that's great. Because I always get confused between portrait, illustrative, and creative. Like, you know, my work, it can fall either place, and so that gets confusing for me. So as long as I know you guys will reach out if it looks wrong, that's great.
Just to chime in on that from the back end, that is something that we have been doing over the last few years. So there has been somebody that's been able to look for something that is obviously miscategorized. So you shouldn't see any change, but that should help you get in the right direction.
Cool, thanks.
I have a question with one of the categories, the
Yeah.
photojournalism. Are you
Uh-huh.
allowed to crop with that?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Sorry,
Yep,
my
you
voice
can-
is this smoke is bothering me.
Yeah.
I can hardly talk, so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, you can crop on that one. And
Good.
the full rules and description are also in the little graphics too.
All right.
Cool. Any other questions?
I had one for you.
Yeah.
With the landscape category slash cityscape.
Yep.
In there, you mentioned having it be an accurate or a representation of the actual scene. What about things like removing power lines?
Yep, that's totally allowed. But doing major changes to it where it becomes a little bit more illustrative or it's a conceptual piece, that would be where it's starting to flirt away. So if you do something like, this is a distracting piece of garbage that's here, or this road wasn't quite there and I want to modify it a little bit, that's fine. But if you're doing something really big, like changing kind of the heart of it, or like if you went there and be like, is that really the same spot? So we don't want to look like a fast food advertisement where you get the burger and you're like, that doesn't look alike at all.
Right.
Okay. Keep the cheese real. Yeah.
Said no food photographer ever.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be in the commercial category. Yep.
Ooh, cheese would be a good theme for a wild card category. Just the word
Yeah.
cheese, and see where
Yeah.
people go with that.
You could start it with yellow.
Have to suggest that for next year.
Yeah.
For cheddar, not Gouda, but right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the big announcement. We're very excited about what's happening and the changes are coming forward. As you do come up with questions, please share them so that we can get information out. Chances are that if you have a question, somebody else does too. And if we can get those questions out there, we can get an FAQ sheet going on just so that everybody's aware and on the same page. We're all going to kind of stumble through this together, but the heart and goal of it is to make it a better learning experience, to help us become better photographers, and to kind of balance out the competition as much as we can. Rachel Woolley is going to be the competition chair this year. So she would be a great spot to reach out. Her contact information is on the PPW website, or you can reach out via like Facebook or email as well.
I just want to say thanks again. I know Chris called it out at the beginning of the call, but to like 7 or 8 folks, I think, that were part of the committee that came up with all these competition changes. And as Chris mentioned, Rachel Woolley is our image competition chair. And so under her leadership, I'm looking forward to seeing this all come together next spring. I think it's going to be great for both experienced competitors to, give you a chance to show off more of your work, perhaps in a broader range than you have in the past, but also to make competition very accessible for new folks, right? If they want to just dip their toe in the water with 1 or 2 images, or they want to enter a couple images that are very different, this should allow them to do that and make it a learning opportunity for all. So I'm excited. And, as Chris said, reach out to Rachel as the competition chair if you have any questions. I'm always willing to field questions as well, or we're here to make this a useful tool for you as a photographer to help grow and to help recognize your accomplishments when you do good work so that you can use that to help market yourself as well.
Right. We do have a question from Jim or comment.
It's just a comment, really. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I just love the whole 10 image thing. I love all the changes, but and all the great work. But I always thought, you have four images, right? And I always like to throw in one that I like just because I like it to get feedback with that. And I was always like, okay, well, I know that's not going to merit, it probably won't, but I want to hear what they say. Now you have a chance to just put that in without worrying about, that it brings your case score down or you're not going to get extra merits or whatever it is. Really great change.
Yeah, these changes, we did so much research, from reaching out to other affiliates, to polling our members, trying to see what's working, what's not working. And I think this is some really, really positive improvements that's going to make it a better experience for everybody.
And the nice addition is the judges all, one judge will at least make one comment on every image. And so that, in addition to throwing in something that might be a little unconventional, is hopefully going to be a great benefit for everybody. All of the changes that we just went through, they're all on the PPW website under image competition. The pages, the descriptions, all the trophies, that sort of thing is all there. But you're welcome to reach out to myself. I will be happy to answer your questions. If I can't do it, I will get you to the right person who can. And moving forward, when at our conference in the spring, we will make the announcement of the next year's images. And so if there is changes, if we have a different category or we're removing a category and replacing it with something else, you'll know that well in advance, as well as the wild card. We'll make that announcement at that time too.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for the evening, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us for the PPW Image Competition 2026 updates.